Hi, everyone. Welcome to Domain Sherpa. We've got a brand new Domain Sherpa review featuring Braden, Shane, and Drew. As usual, we play the domain game featuring zkp.com, cloak.net, and shoprx.com. We also talk about some interesting new tech that I won't divulge too much about now in the intro, as it's part of the domain game. And we also talk a little bit about office chairs, since we spend so much time in them each day. And then we've got the NameJetGonnaJet segment, sponsored by NameJet. We talk about some domains coming up for auction, including 3B.com, dailyshorts.com, thinkfit.com, and ventriloquist.com. We also look at some domains provided by the community for evaluation by the Sherpas, so thanks to everybody for that, and keep them coming. And remember, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can also watch the video version at DomainSherpa.com and on our YouTube channel at ds.tv. You can also listen to the shows on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms as well. Also, we are now integrating our shows with Muse.ai, which provides some really cool search functionality for the shows and the transcripts as well. So definitely check all that out. And big shout out to Dan.com, the #1 place in the world to buy and sell your domains, with a special platform made for domain investors. With that, it's now time to get into this episode of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. So let's go. What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. Jay On, a.k.a. Sherpa Winfrey, and I'm the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is a Domain Sherpa review, where we get into the minds of successful domain investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become more successful domain investors ourselves. These are the experts, the best in the biz. Y'all know who they are by now. There are 4 segments to a Domain Sherpa review. We kick off with grand opening. That's where I intro the Sherpas. We see what's going on with them. We talk about some related things, some unrelated things, do a couple AKAs. You know what I'm saying? Then we get into segment 2, which is the domain game. That's where we hear about what the Sherpas recently bought or sold. The other Sherpas guess the price, and eventually, someday, we might give out some swag to the winners, you know what I'm saying? And then we got segment 3.
Never gonna happen.
Never gonna get
virtual
it. Never
swag.
Gonna get it. Never gonna get virtual swag. Exactly. Here's the digital wearable, Braden. Congratulations.
You can go on the metaverse.
Didn't we go through that over the summer where we sent everybody JPEGs as yet?
Yeah. We did. But you got yourself an actual physical hoodie, you know what I'm saying? So let's you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So let's keep it real.
I also got a bunch of JPEGs.
Flush with
Wait,
JPEGs.
I was not aware of sending out JPEGs.
Flush with JPEGs. That's what I'm saying. My digital wardrobe is better than my physical
that
wardrobe.
Even my sense of, you know.
Hey, then we get into segment 3, which is NameJetGonnaJet, sponsored by our friends at NameJet. That's where we review a list of domains coming up for auction. The Sherpas tell us what they like, what they don't like. We might even throw in a couple audience names to just get a feel of what people think about a couple of names. And but remember, when the Sherpas, they give you their insight, they're not gonna bullshit you. They're not gonna hold back. So, but we got some decent names, So big shout out to some of the folks out there that are sending their names in for us to take a look at. Appreciate that engagement 100%. And then last but certainly not least, we wrap up the show with the grand closing, where we discuss anything we haven't already covered, what's going on in the domain space, looking at the market trends, current events, and allowing the guest hosts to mention and promote anything they want to talk about that we have not already discussed. So with that, let's go ahead and introduce the Sherpas. Over to my right, I got my boy Andrew Rosner, a.k.a. Morpheus, a.k.a. the Dirk Diggler of Digital Assets, a.k.a. Bob Lee Swagger, the Sniper, a.k.a. Drew. Drew got what I need, a.k.a. Every Rosner has its thorn, a.k.a. Never Gonna Give Drew Up, a.k.a. Graybeard, the Domain Pirate, Cancel Adams, level 14, coming at you live with your cyber glasses, you know what I'm saying? Keep that glare out your eyes. What's going on, man?
I don't know, man. You lost me about halfway through those AKAs.
Halfway. That's what it is, man. I'm glad you stuck around that long.
Why cancel Adams?
You know how Ansel Adams is the and Drew's kind of like, I feel like he's always trying to toe that line about being canceled. So instead of Ansel Adams, it's Cancel Adams.
Cancel me.
See, listen, here he goes. Tell him. But that's what it is.
Canceled.
So, you know, but that's where we get
famous enough to be canceled.
Well, yeah, you know, but you know, you're famous to us, you know what I'm saying? And we can cancel. Anyway, so that's what's good. Let's keep it going. To my lower right, we got my boy Shane Culture, aka Sugar Shane, aka Honey Shane, aka Honey Money, aka Mike Rowe, aka Blame It on the Shane, aka House of Shane, aka Doing It for the Culture, aka In Shane in the Membrane, aka In Shane in the Blockchain. I think I'm trying to cut a few out of yours because otherwise we'll be here all day.
Yeah, well, culture goes a long way. The culture, personality, and all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah, Blue Oyster Culture, and I threw in a new one, Honey Money. We have we were going through our domain portfolio and we came up on honeymoney.com. And we're like, oh man, Shane might have to put that.
That was nice of you to send it over to me. That was sweet.
It's on the way.
What a gift.
It's on the way.
What a nice gift.
It's a transfer request that we put in per network solution, so you should have it sometime by 2027.
You should have it in a decade or two.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's all good.
And then Drew sent me a picture of it and minted it, so it was like an NFT of the name. So it's as good as owning it.
It's the NFT of the transfer, is what it is.
That's your swag.
Oh,
it was honeymoney.eth.
honeymoney.eth, baby. I love it. Let's go.
Oh, you guys are so kind. That's why I love you.
Let's get it. And then last but certainly not least, below me, we got my boy Braden Pollock, aka Tony Stark, aka Benjamin Button, aka Eat Bray Love, aka Braden Statham, aka Braden Pollockton, Archduke of Calabasas. It's not that your domain is worthless. It's just that it's worth less. Like, you know, that's it. That's what it is. What's up, man?
Howdy.
What's going on? I like the beams. It's you know, it's a nice
exposed
nice
wood.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, just so you know.
I'm not at home.
Yeah,
So not my beams.
Yeah.
And an
I got beams at
undisclosed.
home though.
Oh man,
I got beams.
I got a beam everywhere I go, son. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. I don't even know what we're talking about, but I'm saying it all confident and provocatively. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go. Anyway, all right. So that's the squad. It does not get any better than this. So you know, unless you guys want to kick off by talking about anything that's fresh on anybody's mind, we can slide right into the domain game, which might be the quickest that we've ever gotten into. It almost makes me feel like we should talk about something. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but
I'm sure we'll talk about something within the domain game. There's no way we shoot straight through it. 0% chance.
Fair enough.
We'll be talking about monetary policy of Brazil in the middle of it eventually.
You know, hey, speaking of which, you know what I'm saying?
Speaking of Brazilian monetary policy.
I'm like, did you see the policy that they just, you know, anyway. All right. Drew, what do you got, man? You got to buy, you got to sell. We're like, we diving right into the domain game.
Wow.
All right. I gotta buy.
It's a record.
I gotta buy.
All right. We got to buy.
I gotta buy. It's a 3letter.com.
Oh.
ZK. ZKP, like Paul.
There's be one of these where he tells me that's a famous acronym for Brazilian monetary policy.
Exactly. That's a Brazilian.
CKP.
I don't even know what. All right.
Zamibian monetary policy.
I got nothing on that. All right. So what did he pay for this? All right.
I'm gonna just go with average.
All right. Yeah. No. All right. Here
we hold my phone up.
We got the phones ready, set, go. What do we got? Oh man, okay. So Braden,
15,
for those of you
26, 35.
All right, we got Braden with 15,000, Shane with 26,000, and me with 35,000. For those of you who are only listening and not watching,
there's gonna be some conspiracies going on here.
Oh,
35,000. Sorry, 32,500.
Bam!
Wow.
See? Oh yeah,
32,500.
Why did you pay that much for a?
What was about the letters? Explain yourself.
In 2 to 3 years, I predict that you will look back and ZKP.com will be the next NFT.com. And the reason for that is that I think that not just the entire crypto world, but many other aspects of life, research, anywhere where it's critical that data be shared and utilized, but maintained anonymous, there is a new tool in the toolbox called zero knowledge proofs.
Ooh.
And zero knowledge proofs are going to be one of the greatest breakthroughs in all of the things that I just mentioned.
Zero knowledge.
So anyways,
could you spell
that's
knowledge?
what's up.
Could you spell knowledge, please?
So I got
You got it.
zkp.com, and I also got the number 0kp.com.
Huh. Oh, okay. Zero KP. That's also cool. I get that. Yeah, the zero knowledge or zero knowledge protocol is a method by which one party can prove to another party that a given statement is true, while the prover avoids conveying any additional information apart from the fact that the statement is indeed true. So
yes.
So anonymous proof is what we're talking about. Zero knowledge proof.
Imagine that I want to demonstrate. So the reason I've actually known about zero knowledge proofs for many years. I've been sort of following the development of this, and the reason is because, once again, sort of my obsession about valuation. And I had talked to the ICA 10 years ago about how I thought that they should create sort of a black box around privatized domain sales, so that we could actually get like an industry standard of what actually is really happening. And to some extent, escrow.com has done that. But I basically imagine that I want to say, all right, we did $96 million in domain sales last year. They're all under NDA. I can't disclose any of them. But I want to prove beyond any, doubt that those sales happen. And I want to break out how that sales distribution worked. But I can't disclose any data that would actually lead to, accidental disclosure of a particular sale, or any of the details around it. Well, utilizing zero knowledge proofs, that now becomes feasible.
Like it.
Yeah, I expected you to keep talking, actually.
Yeah, but I can't. This is really deep math. This is
I love
heavy maths.
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough for that.
No, but I think
so I conceptually understand it, and I understood that it was going to be really, really, really important at an early stage. But I can't explain it to you beyond what I just explained, because it's really complicated stuff. But there's lots of good YouTube videos that you can watch on the subject, and I would encourage people to, because I think it's really important stuff. It's going to change medical research. It's going to change crypto. It's going to change a whole bunch of things. It's going to be enormous for AI. Yeah.
From an outside perspective, where I think that the real importance in all of this is the trust factor of the person relaying the information. There has to be
they don't.
So
need
how
to
do
be
you know
trustworthy.
that
That's actually the main thing. That it's like this is almost the equivalent of the importance of Bitcoin in and of itself. And what Bitcoin did from a math perspective was to solve what's called the Byzantine generals problem, right? So you've got a variety of different generals, and you want them to follow command. So you tell one, but there's this problem of like things get lost along the chain of command and the chain of communication. And anyways, this sort of expands upon the math breakthroughs that Bitcoin created. But
the data,
all of that,
human driven.
All of that, the basis for all of it is that you never have to trust a third party. So it doesn't matter. I don't need to know.
But you have to trust the original. You have to trust party A. The original source of data has to be trusted. How do you know it's real?
Okay, so the data set, I guess that's a different problem, right? So, but that just gets to the question of like good data, right? But good science, good data, whatever the input was. But you don't have to trust the party that's trying to prove that's what the data says, right?
There needs to be a
I see what you're
trustworthy.
saying.
Yes,
Origination.
You have to trust the original data, right? The input needs to be trusted. And if it's coming from you and you're inputting that data, then how do we know that that's real data to begin with?
Yeah.
It's beyond my pay grade.
Yeah, no,
I get it. No, I totally get it though.
But I can tell you that this is a very important breakthrough in math and in many, many, many fields going forward for
well, it's definitely something for all of us to look into and see.
It's another big step in eliminating the need for trusted third parties. That's the point.
Yeah.
Okay, to be continued. You just ruined the rest of my day as I go down this rabbit hole.
I was going to say, talk about down the rabbit hole, you know, like, I'm not familiar with it either.
Hey, Twitter, remind me of in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but I think that conceptually it makes sense. And I think as we continue to move along these sort of paths where, you know, we talk about, you know, where it is a matter of like trust and data and all these things and AI and all this stuff and crypto and all of the, you know, the benefits and the reasons of blockchain and the quantum computing to allow, you know, computers that can actually run the processes and queries and all the stuff to be able to do the things that we're talking about and have us all operate at this higher level. It's all pretty crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna be over here kind of taking a nap and working on my AKAs.
I'm saying right now, you know, the most valuable companies in the world are those that possess real data sets of information about people. So for me, proprietary. So Strava, the app Strava is the most valuable running company in the world. I think it's almost more valuable than Nike in the fact that they know every human being on earth, how far they run, the pace they do, what their schedule is, what kind of shoes they're wearing, what their heart rate is, what their health conditions are. And you can build.
Wait, why do they know what shoes you wear?
Did you say every human being on earth? Because I assure you, they don't know anything about my mother.
If your mom's on Strava, tell her I say hi. Tell Mama Runner 43 that she's doing great. But no, most runners and cyclists are on it. I can't remember the percentage, but it's really high. And they know the shoes because you input your shoes and it calculates the miles and then tells you when you need a new pair. So you can say, I'm wearing my.
Are they
Asics
doing testing on those shoes to figure out what their lifetime of that shoe is? And then doesn't that change based on the way you run, how much you weigh?
So here's the thing. So every time I get a new pair of shoes, I input them and they're probably assuming that, hey, those Asics are no longer any good. So he's moved to a new shoe. So the 23,000 people that bought that Asics averaged 490 miles until they switched to a new pair of shoes. Like that's the data that's just coming through every day. It's crazy.
But Drew's right that there is other data that's required, like running surface is a big deal. Are you running on dirt? Are you running on pavement?
But they know your path, so your entire path and what you're running on is all recorded too. So they know you ran on city roads. They know you ran on trails. They know everything. Matter of fact, you have to put in the app, don't record my run within 5 minutes of me leaving or starting, because they don't want, you can track a person and see exactly where they started and where they finished, and you know where they live. But you also can see everybody in your town that ran and when they passed you. So if you saw a person that ran past you and say, I wonder who that was, you go on Strava, look at the people that ran through you, look at their profile and say, oh, that's Jim Walmsley, who I've
If I was a stalker,
before.
I'd be on this thing like
Jim Walmsley, man. You watch out for Jim Walmsley. He's gonna be running right past your ass. Nobody runs past me. That's the thing. Like nobody passing me out there.
Jim Walmsley runs like 100 miles at 6:10 pace, so he's the real runner.
You tell Jim to chill. Tell Jim he passed.
But anyway,
me.
that gets to my point. Though that kind of information that's being gathered, and then you combine what Drew's talking about in AI and all this stuff, it's just incredible what we're going to get out of all this stuff.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And you find it all in a domain name.
Yeah, there needs to be a practical portal, right? A way to be able to, great, all this data, like there has to be a way to use it. And I think that's kind of to your point. It's like the companies that have data, have unique data, and then it's about how does it actually become accessible, usable, like, and all of that. And, and this goes back to me being an unfrozen caveman, just being like, I just need to be able to go to my computer and make things happen, right? I need to be able to order shit and look up shit and do shit, or use the app on my phone and all of that stuff. And so much of that stuff is going to, flows through. You still need single points of sort of, entry, recognition, all of that stuff. And that's where the domains come in. I mean, it's like you still got to start somewhere. They still need a home base.
And, people will gladly trade you all those tools for your information. That's basically where we're at right now. Whatever tool you want, Mr. JT, I'll give it to you. I just go ahead and log in and tell me everything you did while you're using that tool.
Yeah.
Or we'll trade you.
That's
the key.
Yeah, no. I really feel like, I'd hate to disappoint them with when I'm like, here's my, and they're like, wow, so you didn't actually run at all. You just sort of did this kind of, you sort of shuffled your feet and kind of dragged out.
They're like, we hooked up to your watch, your Apple Watch, while you were using your Excel spreadsheet, and you had 187 heartbeat. So
they're like, y'all, you doing okay? Like, they keep sending the ambulance for me at random parts of my day.
No, you keep getting blood pressure monitor ads on every site you go to.
This is like I've fallen.
Strava's going to tell JT when he needs a new desk chair.
Yeah. Oh,
well. Yeah, exactly.
He's sitting in it all day.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, hey, that's got to be worn out. Your seat barely
hey, you need to
anymore.
put some of that Franken potion on your head.
Oh man! All right, well, good stuff. I dig all this.
Speaking of desk chairs, I just got the best deal ever. A friend of mine was
on a HermanMiller.
Lisbon. I got 3 HermanMiller desk chairs, like new, $1,400.
Yeah, that's the cost of one, isn't it?
And now I change them out every day. I go from the black one to the orange one to the red one, back to the black one. Just switch it up. You know what I'm saying?
I got to get a new chair, man. I got this Spider-Man thing.
Meanwhile, I'm kneeling on an old
I got
TV
4. I got 4 of them. I got 4 HermanMiller desk chairs in my office now.
And I'm on a pad.
I took my kid. I literally stole one of my kids' Spider-Man gaming chairs, and that's where I'm at. I'm like, this was $115 on Amazon, and I had to put it together, which is also why it like leans back all crazy, and everything. But
HermanMiller is great marketing, but it's not the best chair. Saddle chairs.
Stop playing. This is the best chair that exists.
So
I had a HermanMiller. I still have it, but I don't use it anymore. I actually had a physical therapist come to my office and was like, these fart through chairs, they're just good marketing.
Is that what you call it, a fart through?
Fart through. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, listen, it cuts off the circulation on your hamstrings. It's just not ergonomically, it's not good. And she got me set up with a saddle chair, which is
what's that?
Really good chair.
Yeah, let's
I'm not in
a
my
reverse.
office. I can't show you.
All right.
Hold on, I just see a Craigslist ad. 3 HermanMiller chairs for $1,500.
Exactly. All right, so this is
saddle chair.
Is
it looks so uncomfortable?
No, totally comfortable.
This shit's like a bike seat.
Comfortable.
Is it like a bike seat?
Like a bike seat.
Yeah.
I'd rather cut off circulation to my hamstrings than my ball sack.
No.
It's actually free. It's the opposite.
It's super comfortable, and like even when you put your arms on the, how when you kind of lean on your elbows, right? You hunch forward, but on the saddle chair you're like this, where your posture is good because your
horse is good posture.
Huh?
It's a really good chair.
The HermanMiller. Okay, yeah, we kind of have.
I don't know. I'm sticking with my HermanMiller.
Well, now that you dropped $1,400 on it,
Yeah,
kind of committed. You're committed to the rotation now.
I was feeling pretty good until you guys.
Saddle chair is so here's a question. So saddle chair, that's a type of chair, not necessarily the brand of chair.
Right.
Yeah.
It's type.
Yeah.
Does it have a back to it?
It does. Yeah.
You can get it with or without.
There are some
you can get it both. Yeah.
You go both ways. Is that what you're saying?
It's too bad we're not having this conversation when I'm in my office, because I can just show you.
Just show it. No, this is good. I'm glad we're getting to the bottom of this. All right, yeah, the HermanMiller stuff is familiar. That's like your typical office stuff. I need a new chair. I think that's what, because I have this other one.
I mean, listen, I don't play when it comes to chairs, because this is where I sit. 8 to 14 hours a day in this thing. Like, is there anything more important?
Strava is sending you alerts. Get up.
Hey, look, Grandma came.
This is camouflage. Camouflage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's not a chair. That's like you know what I'm saying? That's
my alternative. That I have a rotation too, Drew. I go from Spider-Man
to
chairs
camouflage. They have you sitting before Pilates in that thing.
It's like, oh, no wonder, like after sitting at 10 hours.
That's like the dentist weight room chair.
I got my
exactly.
I go between Spider-Man and camouflage. That's what it is. That's
Well,
why I'm so
did a bed and
productive.
breakfast go out of business?
Exactly. It's like, yo,
2-star Airbnb.
you're like, oh, do you live
Yeah,
near
hey,
the 55? You live near the
I
55
wonder-
and over community here in Florida. It's like that's where I get all my furniture.
Yeah, Sun City at the Sun City garage sale.
I wonder how many people are so bored that they've turned us off by now.
They
All
really
right, we
left.
can keep it moving.
All right,
man.
moving
We
on.
talked
I mean,
about a lot
listen,
of interesting stuff.
Office chair comparison, big search category on Google. All right, broad segment of the audience applicable.
Especially,
It
yeah, 'cause
wasn't
so many
Brazilian
people are
monetary. It wasn't Brazilian monetary policy, but we got really
It was
close.
office chair policy. Office chair policy.
Same.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
good. All right. So you got a domain? We got because I'm up 1-0. You guys are just delaying the inevitable here.
I've got one, and maybe you were following it. It was a sale on an auction of Powerwall.com.
Powerwall.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't talk about that one.
That was an auction. Oh, you
Yeah,
all
no.
saw it? You all can bid? Okay, let me go.
We might have won it.
Okay.
I don't even know.
Braden, you
Yeah,
go.
actually, it was if I recall correctly, it's 15,000.
It did, yeah.
Got it. Guess what? You get virtually nothing. So go ahead.
All right, let's go.
Go ahead,
Let's go,
Braden.
Braden.
Braden, you do one, and I'll pick one you didn't follow.
Okay. All right, I've got a couple of sales. Let's see.
Ooh, that's what I like to hear. Let's go.
All right. Cloak.net. Cloak, CLOAK. Cloak.net.
Another .net.
And this was a sale.
Cloak.net.
Here's a sale.
I like
Drew.
that name though. Cloak.
Drew, this was a sale.
Yeah. Yeah.
As in, like, I didn't buy it, I sold it.
Right. Okay.
Oh, okay. I got you now. All right. Okay.
All right. Shane, let's go.
Cloak.net.
Sold last week.
Cloak.net. Well, nice job. Did you also sell Dagger.net?
That's for another show.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Turn your calculators and your phones. All right. So
All right, JT says 25,000, and
Yep.
I can't.
Oh
Drew
man,
says,
y'all bird
right.
hold me.
So Shane has 14,500. Drew has 17,888, I believe, and then I've got 25,000. So we've got a decent spread. I mean, you said it was a sale, so I went higher than I otherwise would have, but I've got the high number. So hopefully you hit it out the park, and then I can just take my winnings and go home already. What? Talk to us.
Second point goes to you, JT.
Yeah, what up? Well, first of all, congratulations. I'm happy for you. I'm also extremely happy for me because that means that I won the domain game.
I sold this for 30,000.
Let's go.
Wow,
That's
nice
awesome.
sale.
All right, so talk
it was-
to us. Yeah, give us details. Sorry.
Yeah, so it was actually a bin. So I just got that message from Cito. Thank you very much. That it was acquired. I've had this for less than a year and a half, like 16 months. About that. I paid $2,500 for it.
Awesome.
I acquired it from another domain investor who will remain unnamed. About a couple
He
of
was
names.
very
from him.
pissed.
They'll remain will they remain cloaked in secrecy?
Yeah. I bought a couple of one-word.nets from this other investor. I think I paid $5,000 for 2 .nets for him, if I recall correctly. And I think they're both priced at 30.
Cloak.com says coming soon. I wonder if that's the buyer.
Yeah, I have no idea. It just sold just a few days ago, so I don't know who the buyer was.
It's funny when you think sell at Sato, they seem to be like in Sato's name for like a year or two. I feel like it transfers to the buyer. I don't know why.
So this one, and actually, I think the last Cito sale. I think there's been a few Cito sales recently that actually sold on Namecheap through Cito syndication.
Interesting.
And just FYI, so I reached out to Teddy and I said, listen, if these are selling on Cito or selling on Namecheap, but through Cito, why can't I go direct and list with Namecheap? And he said that currently Namecheap is not offering that. However, Spaceship will offer direct listing. So just
Got it.
FYI, for those that don't know, there's a new service being offered on spaceship.com by Namecheap, and you'll be able to list directly there. And it'll be much less than 20% or whatever it is that Stader charges. Yeah, it's 20%.
All right, cool. Well, that's good stuff. And I think cloak.net, I dig that. And I feel like, to me, it speaks about security, cybersecurity. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff. Actually, I don't mind the .net for that one. I think if you're talking especially about something that involves some kind of online or cybersecurity or some other type of, masking, like VPN.
Right.
I mean, cloak.net is a VPN service.
Great
awesome.
name. Great name.
Yeah.
Great name.
So,
yeah, and I think that's why I priced it at 30, because I figured I think the SLD kind of supports that, and
Totally.
I was right.
good work, man. You're big on the .nets. You're one of those few guys. It's like, it's funny whenever when I'm going over a list of NameJet names, and you're going to be on the show, I'm more open to putting .nets on the list than if you know what I mean, than if anyone else is on there. I don't know if that's good or bad, but for you,
for those that are like, oh, well, Braden's buying .nets, I'm gonna buy it. The thing is that you have to look at it like, is the .net's worth maybe 5% of the .com. So if you've got a good SLD like cloak.com is easily a high 6-figure, 7-figure name, right? So if I can offer cloak.net at like 3 to 5% of that price, then I think that's the sweet spot. But it's got to be a strong SLD. And I have a bunch of one-word .nets, and they don't sell that often. You have to have a lot for these to have decent sell-through, and you need to buy right. So don't start overpaying for a bunch of like mediocre .nets, because you're just going to sit on them forever.
That's right. You make money on the buy, not on the sell. So, be smart. Be smart out there, like Braden. All right. Shane, do you want to go ahead? We can do one more round, even though it doesn't matter, because I've already I'm ready to give my
you might have followed this one too. So another one I thought was pretty interesting, because this category is getting so hot. It was shoprx.com.
Shoprx.
Anybody follow that one?
Nope.
Did not.
I remember that one, but I remember seeing that, but I don't remember what it's
with Cuban and good RX and all those, that segment's been quite talked about. So it came up for auction. So if you guys want to try and guess that one.
Yeah, let's go ahead. I like it.
All right.
All right.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right.
All right.
Whenever you're ready, Braden. 3, 2, 1. Let's roll. Flip it. All right. Ooh, Drew. Sorry. Well, if it's lower, so anyway, so Drew's got 7,888. I've got 8,000, and Braden has 11,000. I'm actually the one that's pretty boxed in here.
Well, we don't have to worry about it, because Braden took it. It was 21,200.
Oh, on NameJet or where? Where was this?
Hold up.
No, on GoDaddy. No, it was just a straight name. Yeah.
No SEO.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was GoDaddy. I should have been paying more attention. So
shoprx.com.
Wow.
It's definitely a good name, but 21. I mean, if somebody
just that category is like it's literally the hottest.
And I think that RX Shop is even better. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's
but
got
good
no
everything is something
no
RX. The known names are always something RX. If you notice that, that's the naming trend. That's more important than the better name is how people perceive it to be correct.
No, I get that. Wow, that's a lot. That's, and you mentioned it was on GoDaddy. I should have been, I probably would have put a little bit of a premium on it, but I don't think I would have gone as high as Braden did. So good job, man. You got a point that doesn't matter, because the domain game is over, and your new champion. Is this the cheers?
You get a promise.
Was that cheers?
What I got.
Was that crowd?
I've got Integrative RX, XTRX, YTRX, GVRX.
Oh, I didn't. That's no sound effects.
Vape RX, EIRX, Tinder X.
No, that's laughter. Wait. No, that's music. I don't know. I have crowd in here somewhere.
That's it. I don't have any good RX names really, other than these 4 letters.
Can you guys hear those?
I can hear.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I know we could just tell Billy to do it in post-production. He's going to be like, don't do that again, because now I got to say
Yeah, exactly. It's much harder to take out dumb sounds than put in dumb sounds.
Exactly. Oh, man, that's awesome. Well, he'll earn his money at least. So, all right, well, cool. That was a pretty good collection of names, and I feel like we learned some interesting things. Fun was had by all. We laughed, we cried.
MediaOptions is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, MediaOptions offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. MediaOptions believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
All right, well, let's keep it moving because we got a list of names to talk about on NameJet. So let's slide into segment 3, which is NameJetGonnaJet. And actually, we got a big old list today. So let me do my little thing that I do on every show where I talk about how all right, so we review a bunch of names that are coming up for auction. We talk about what the Sherpas like, what they don't like. We have the Excel sheet that you can go to DomainSherpa.com, download the sheet. It's got the list of names. It's got the Esteban appraisals. Take those with a grain of salt. How many back orders is at the time that we record the show? How many days that are left in the pre-release period before, as of the day the show airs? This one's actually going to air next week from when we're recording it because we're behind a week. So a couple of these will have only a few days left, and they are all expiring domains, which means that in order to participate in the auction, you have to have a back order in before the back order deadline. So definitely make sure you get it in. And although I was noticing, and I don't know if it was just me, but it didn't seem like the Esteban appraisal integration is working on NameJet at the moment. Everything is showing up as an asterisk. So hopefully that'll be fixed soon. If whatever's happening there, but big list. I picked like 21 names. It was one of those where I almost pick more names when there aren't as many names to kind of pick from, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't make sense.
No, it does. It does. Because if
there
there's
was
not a bunch of good,
like
if there's
12,
not good names, then you want something. You want us to have more opportunity to choose something to talk about.
It makes sense for the average schmuck, right? So, like. That's
what are we? We're a bunch of average schmucks.
People try to replace quality with quantity, and that is always a mistake.
Well, yeah.
No, but that's not what he's doing. He's like, look, these are
exactly what he's doing. He's replacing quality with quantity.
But it's not like quality. Quality is not an option. Like, where am I supposed to pull? Am I supposed to make the names up?
He's saying these are names for mediocre schmucks, so therefore I'm gonna provide a bigger list.
There's a couple good names on this list. They're not all bad. I just mean, like, I just went with a pretty heavy list because it just seemed like there weren't as many huge home runs, but still a lot of good value. And remember, it all comes down like Braden says, it's not that your domain's worthless, it's just worth less. All these names are, you tell me if there are any that are not at least worth a minimum bid of $69. But let's talk about the list and see. Let's dig into it. Because now I feel like there's all this lead in, there's all this hype or negative hype, and let's see what's up. So go ahead, Drew. What do you think?
Well, I guess my favorite name on the list is the obvious one, 3b.com. I love 2character.coms. 3b sounds good, looks good. I don't know. I just, it's a great name. Now, question is a reserve, and what is it going to end up going for? Actually, I think it's an expiry, so it should be no reserve.
No reserve. All no
but
reserve.
I think the minimum wholesale price on those is in the high 5 figures. I think it's around, 75,000 plus. So, I think with 3B, I'd expect that to go probably to 100 grand.
Does rhyme.
Yep, 3B. It's great little name. And then, I'm from Rhode Island originally. To our north, we've got Massachusetts. We refer to the good people of Massachusetts as massholes. And so I like masshole.com. In fact, I might even buy it just for Andrew Miller.
Oh, snap.
I don't.
That's cool. So,
And then there's just like a lot of small little things that like could, it's like you said, they're worth bidding on. They're worth owning for a few $100 maybe, but your upside is probably fairly limited. But it's like dailyshorts.com. Like that's a good name. Clearair.com. Who doesn't want clear air, right?
So on Daily Shorts, I think that's interesting to me. I mean, my kids watch
Pyromancer. Like, can you think of a better name for a dating network for pyromaniacs?
Start the fire on pyromancer.com.
Isn't that like an anime or
rekindle your flame?
Character?
Yeah, pyromancer is a character. It's someone who engages in pyromancy, like almost like a sorcerer type of thing, or like a fire starter type of like.
Stop it! You're making that shit up.
Dungeons and Dragons character. No, and it's legitimately a Dungeons and Dragons character, or maybe not Dungeons and Dragons, but it's in. I'm gonna Google it right now.
I don't think
your
it's
childhood
actually,
must have sucked.
I don't think it's a real thing. I think it's a character.
It's one who performs pyromancy, who has the magical ability to conjure or control fire. Like it's thing.
No, that's clearly a real person.
That's like obviously, you know what I'm saying? So, and there's a character in Game of Thrones
who got that fire.
There's different types of pyromancers. There's the blaze caller, the ember caller, the fire speaker. All
right, moving
Warcraft.
on.
You're going deeper down a rabbit hole that nobody cares about.
World of Warcraft, baby. Let's go. All right. So who's next? Well, real quick. What I was saying was Daily Shorts, I think is pretty interesting because YouTube Shorts, a lot of the TikTok stuff, like that's all, these kids, man, it's like all they're watching. They long form video now for them is like 30 seconds. It's like, ooh, that's like war and peace out here. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder how that's going to work out in their life.
Oh, hey, it's all, instant gratification. What could be wrong with that? We must have it. Zero, attention span. But all right, Shane, what do you think?
Well, I think if you can't get good content in a minute, you can't. It's like a pitch deck. You got to get it done quick. Like if you can't fit it in a minute, it's not worth knowing. On the name, I just love the Esterbot on 3B. I would definitely take Esterbot for 3B for 14,400. I'm in. Count me in on that one. I like
Put me in,
Shorts.
coach. I'm ready to play.
I like. I look at Electronics Warehouse and I just think like it went bankrupt in '96. Like it was in the mall, and we had like iPods and stuff in there, but now it's. It
was next to Warehouse Records, I think.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, everything's Warehouse. And it's not even
all the people listening are like, "What the hell's
It's like the singular electronic warehouse versus electronics warehouse. Do you think any difference? I mean, it's all kind of the same pile of.
The warehouse itself is electronic. They don't sell electronics there.
Exactly.
That's right. See, we're repurposing it for the new world. You know what I mean?
It's like an Amazon distribution center. It's an electronic warehouse, right? It's all run by robots.
All right, let's get back to SpongeBob. Is that what Merman's for?
Hey, how do you not love Merman? It's Merman, Dad. Merman. Have you ever seen Zoolander? You know what I'm saying? Where he's like, and you're out here dressed up as a mermaid. And he's like, Merman, Dad. Merman.
I thought
really,
it was
show him the clip. Time out. Zoolander reference means Zoolander reference. We've got a contractual obligation. Billy, play a clip.
You're dead to me, boy. You're more dead to me than your dead mother. I just thank the Lord she didn't live to see her son as a mermaid. Merman. Merman.
All right.
Oh god, that's going to cost you 12 cents. I don't like the plurals on the Diablos and the clinicals and those.
Oh no, Diablos is hot.
Oh, pun intended.
I'm sure
Let's go. Pyromancer, Diablos. This is a hot list. This is the hot list. Is that a team
name though? Like the Diablos?
I guarantee
is that a
you
sports
in Latin America,
team
there's 49 teams called Diablos.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. The Devils.
Yeah,
and clinicals might be a term too, like clinical trials.
Yeah,
I can see it.
Clinicals
sounds kind of jargony.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's.
What do the clinicals say?
I love names like Blue Powder. I just colors and nouns. They're not that expensive. You do have to wait a little while, but they're nice clean name. So I do like those. If you
nice,
get that
clean mountains of powder, that's what you like?
Yeah, exactly. Blue, like dyed fentanyl. Yeah.
Like,
that's messed up, man.
We got to
I
brand
want
this
blue
fentanyl.
like methamphetamine.
Breaking Bad out here, you know what I'm saying? Like when that
exactly, we got to brand it with our own little stamp.
Powder.
What do you call that in Breaking Bad? Because it was also blue, right? It was what they called it? Something.
Yeah, it was the what was the blue crystal, but what was the hold on?
It had a brand. They branded that thing.
Wasn't it meth?
Yeah, but it was definitely meth. But it was, this was primo meth, man. This wasn't just.
It was called something. Yeah.
Blue
it had that blue color.
Was it blue sky?
I gotta watch that Breaking Bad
crystal
show. It sounds pretty good.
That's
Blue Devil
no, they said blue sky. That's what blue sky. So
that's not as exciting.
I know, right? It's
BlueSky.com is one of my biggest regrets in my whole domain career. I sold BlueSky.com, I think, for $80,000, like
when
10, 12 years ago. I've still got the hyphen version. But yeah, it's one of my biggest regrets. I love that name. Absolutely love that name.
That was cheap even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The one that got away.
But that led to all these other sales because he bought more names that sold for millions of dollars. So
you can't regret. I would buy everything that I sold 10 years ago. I'd buy back at that price today.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's how I explain it. They always say,
and you have to balance. You have to balance between holding and then selling names to reinvest. So
yeah. Well, I think that's one thing people kind of fail to realize is this idea of like you've got to continue to at least have some sort of like return and cash and all this stuff. Otherwise, you're just buying and sitting on it for a decade, and then you're going to come back to, you know what I mean? It's a functioning, ongoing business, right? I mean, there's we constantly have these conversations. It's like, hey, should I sell this for that? We're more liquid then, and could you buy more name? It's you're constantly doing that analysis. So.
And it's easy to be on the outside. Go ahead.
If it takes you 10 years to sell a name for, I don't know, 4 or 5 times more money, you were better off selling it to begin with, because then you could have redeployed and sold all of those other names for, 5 times or 6 times. So
churn and burn, baby, churn and burn. Let's go.
Yeah.
So
it's easy to analyze somebody else's sales from the other side. Oh, that was cheap. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Maybe it was, but you don't know what I was looking to sell for, why I was selling. Like you don't know the story behind it.
Yeah. What was cash flow like? What was cash flow like at the time? Was there a better opportunity out there?
There's lots of behind. Hell, you don't know sometimes people just need money in real life. You just don't know. You can't analyze that. And if you do well, then you do well. If they don't do well, it doesn't really affect you either. It's just fun to talk about. I love. There was one I really liked on there. Yeah, I'm not in love with any of these two. I don't know that I would be bidding on many of these. They're just not in my wheelhouse. Like ventriloquist is a nice build out. I'm sure there's a market. I'm sure people still do that. I'm sure that's. Not very many people, but if I go to Las Vegas,
the problem is there's a major disconnect on that name between the people who would want to find a ventriloquist and their ability to spell, and the difficulty of spelling the word ventriloquist.
Well, and I guess my question is it the actual proper spelling? Oh, I think it is.
Yeah, I think that's the right spelling.
It is. It's the correct spelling of ventriloquist.
They don't have a nickname for him that we could get, like Venties or something. There's no.
That's a large cost.
Hey, we hired a ventrilo. We hired a ventrilo for the kids for the kids birthday party. Well, I think the issue is that the dummies themselves aren't on the internet. You know what I'm saying? They can't really use the computer, so you have less people searching. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to find a ventriloquist to work, trying to find somebody to work with. You know what I'm saying? You got all these out of work dummies trying to find the ventriloquist to work with.
All right. Speaking of out of work dummies,
indeed, for ventriloquist dummies is what it is. It's like
the last guy
Braden's turn
on my ass. Okay, go Braden.
Oh, that's
all right. So I think I'm not a brandables guy, but I think there's a few in here that are decent. AutoMed I could see that being something.
Mhm.
Kind of like what were we just talking about? Shop RX. I mean, it's kind of along the same lines. AutoMed.
It is a mechanic name, a good mechanic's name.
You could have like I don't know, your prescription automatically, shipped to you.
Which is a thing that all the pharmacies are doing now and things like that.
Amazon's doing that. So I could see AutoMed.
I think about AutoMed being more like a car doctor. You know what I mean? Like somebody fixes your car.
Mechanic.
Mechanic.
It could be. Yeah. I once sold I sold jetdoctor.com years ago. Same kind of thing.
You are the type of person who has jet doctors in your circle. You know what I'm saying? Oh, who do you use to fix up your jet? Oh, I use Jet Doctor. Oh, that's who you use? That's amazing. Do they do G5s? I don't know. We have a G6, you know?
All right, moving on. Billy, mute him.
That was funny.
Jump Zone might be a trademark. There's a company called Jump Zone Parties, which is a franchise. It's a chain of
bouncy houses and stuff,
Yeah, we got a Jump Zone here in Lisbon. It's a giant warehouse building full of trampolines.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. Whether or not
pay $25, have your kid break his neck.
I don't.
$25 sprain an ankle. All right, go ahead. Fine.
I don't know if there's a trademark, so buyer beware. But it's definitely an upgrade for jumpzoneparties.com. Inboard is an interesting term. It was a electric skateboard brand, which obviously is defunct now. But I could see it being something else, or it'll have some SEO value.
Wait, inboard? It's like an inboard motor.
Yeah. Inboard versus outboard
motors. Inboard motors. That's a great name.
Well, and there was an inboard brand.
I actually totally overlooked that name. Inboard.com is probably the best name on there.
See, it's a gift that keeps giving, this list.
And then, I also kind of like Think Fit, which is a visualization technique to you like picture yourself in shape.
Well,
do anything about it.
Fun fact. You burn more calories in deep thought. Like if you look at the guys that are like the master chess players, the what do you call it? Grand Dragons. Those guys, they burn more calories.
Shit, dog.
I just learned this. They burn more calories playing chess than the average runner in a marathon.
No way.
Yes, like the per minute, per whatever they're measuring, the per minute calorie burn is higher. Your brain burns more calories than any other organ in your body.
I mean, I think everyone can relate.
Maybe over your organs, you know what I'm saying, dog? I
think everyone can relate to the time that they were studying real hard for a test or was really focused on a thing and all day, and then at the end was exhausted.
Yeah, that's 100% true. I actually even find driving long distances makes me extremely tired, so, because I think you mentally got to be engaged the whole time,
Yeah, it does. It wears me out too.
Unless you got a Tesla.
Thinking about it.
Even the Tesla. I had the Tesla. I fucking sold that shit, man. That self-driving shit is bullshit. That shit, you had to sit there and every 10 seconds you had to keep touching the wheel. I could barely get in the back seat and back into the front seat on the highway. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Don't tell me you're just going to drive. Don't make me pay an extra 10 G's for me to fucking get full driving capability, self-driving, and then it doesn't actually self-drive shit. You know what I mean? And then you would drive too fast. I'm pretty
sure that he just used 47 expletives in the course of 38 seconds.
Hey, I stand behind it, man. You know what I'm saying? That was some bullshit. I heard Benz is coming out with a really good self-driving, tech, but I found the Tesla self-driving to be extremely disappointing. So I thought that there were certain aspects of the car that I loved, but the self-driving I thought was a big disappointment. So I'm just gonna say that's what's up.
We have our third Tesla. We've had Teslas for years, and the self-driving is pretty good. But it's not, you don't turn it on and go to take a nap. You do have to pay attention.
What?
But if you're on the freeway and it start, stop, it's pretty good because you don't have to do all that.
I will agree. Yes.
So you don't just put your feet flat on the floor, you don't even do the brake.
For the most
Right.
part, yeah, but you got to
Or
touch the
steering.
wheel every like 30 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever it is. And then the challenge I was having is
No,
when I
it's
would
not.
do
It's every few minutes.
when I would do long distance driving too, it always wanted me to get out of this fast lane. You know what I'm saying? I'd be trying to go as fast as it could go, because if you go too fast, it actually will turn off. It won't let you self drive, because it's like, hey, you can't go that fast. And then it always would want to put me in the
you're
middle.
wilding over here.
It would always want to put me in the middle lane, right? Like, and then I'd come up on someone and I got to pass them, and you got to press the thing and go, and then get back. And it kept wanting to do that shit. You know what I mean? It was
because
like
you're in Florida.
It was just making me want to do too much work. And I just felt like that was a little bit not as advertised. If it came with the car for free, I would have been all good with it. But it was an upcharge that wasn't cheap. So I personally was just a little bit underwhelmed by it. That's all. But yeah, I mean, look,
did
it was
you
definitely
upgrade to full self-driving? Because it's not full self.
That's what I'm saying. But I will say this. I do agree that it did make it easier to be like, do distracted driving. You want to be on your phone and other stuff. Like, you could do that without worrying like, oh shit, I'm going to go off the side of the road, you know? And my wife says I'm a pretty bad driver to begin with. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty distracted as it is. So
you should have started with that statement.
That shit was helpful. You know what I'm saying? I should have said, disclaimer, I'm a bad driver. It's just, but it's really my weakness is a strength. I care too much. I work too hard. Anyway,
it's funny. I had a Volkswagen. What do you call it? Touareg. Is that the
Beetle?
No, the Touareg. And and then I traded it out for a Land Rover. And I thought, like, the lane assist on the Land Rover, I was like, oh, it's a 4-year-old, it was a brand new car. The other one was now 4 years old or 3 years old or whatever. I thought, oh, it's going to be much better. Let me tell you something. That lane assist on the Volkswagen was flawless. The lane assist on the Land Rover is useless. It literally is like you're better off without it.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting stuff. And again, I think it also comes down to expectations, right? You just assumed, okay, the Land Rover newer, it's going to be better. For me, I thought full self-driving was going to really be a little bit more full self, full, autopilot. It's just not that, and, but I will say, I did there were a lot of features of the car I thought were super cool. Some of the stuff I thought was a little bit of hype, like that joint about how have it come meet you, outside the store when it's from the parking space. That shit will also you're waiting forever. It doesn't want to run people over.
DMX, meet me outside. Meet me outside.
It doesn't want to run people over. I'm like, I don't care. Hit the button. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, it's called Summon. That
Summon,
feature.
yes.
It's not there yet.
No, also not there. And it's okay. Look, I think conceptually it's great to to want to work towards it. It's just hard to be like, oh, hey, it's got these features that don't actually work well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Mercedes, you mentioned Mercedes. Mercedes does have a pretty good assist, like their parallel parking assist.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. You can drive up to a space like between two cars along a curb, and you hit the button, and man, it just backs right up. Perfectly backs into that space.
Oh, that's awesome.
Really?
And it's because it'll pull up to like an inch of each bumper on either car, right? Yeah. So it knows exactly, and like we don't have sitting inside the vehicle, like we don't have the perspective, and so we can't be that perfect. But
I have to say, one of the skills I do have in life is I am an absolute money parallel parker.
I can drive well backwards.
I really am. I'm not even going to be shy about it. I am an absolute money parallel parker. I will park any car in any space if it is physically feasible.
Do you put your arm, as soon as you do it, do you always take your right arm and put it on the passenger seat before you do that?
No, I don't even look over my shoulder. I use mirrors only. It drives my wife nuts. I don't do the over the shoulder looking, nothing. Mirrors only. Just I got that. I'll do it in 2 moves.
When I used to live in New York,
no more than 2 moves.
When I lived in Brooklyn and everything, and I mean, it was for years. Like I was very, very good at parallel parking. Now
you're really good at playing bumper cars. That's what
now my car, now I got the truck, but I don't. You know what I need is that full surround view, because the bird's eye view.
Bird's eye.
Like my wife has it in her car, and that shit, you could park that shit so easy because you could see everything. My car doesn't even tell me if I'm about to hit some shit. Like I don't even get the beep beep or the buzz.
Really?
Yeah, so I've my bumper's a little fucked up right now because like it wasn't exactly my fault. You know what I'm saying? Like there've just been a couple of things.
Oh, it was absolutely your fault.
For those of you just joining us, please ignore any car advice from JT, who clearly doesn't know how to drive an automobile.
No facial recognition.
But what about the Hummer has that crab driving and stuff? And pretty soon, don't you think we're gonna end up where like the cars will literally just do the side wheel thing to let you parallel park like that way?
You should try it.
I'm supposed to have mine in April.
Are you getting one?
The Hummer SUV.
Yeah, let's go.
And
that shit's
the 2-door Bronco is so short and it has bird's eye. I can almost drive head into a parallel park. It's like so short. I can just come the other. There's no spot that I can't. Matter of fact, it's short. It's so short that everybody, it's kind of like a smart car where they think it's an empty spot, so they get super excited when they come around your truck.
You're one of those guys, and it's like,
So they see that all those the dented bumpers of your truck, and then they pull around thinking they're about to pull in, and there's my little Bronco. And
there's your little car.
They keep going. Yeah.
What's up, bitches? All right. Well, cool. This is good. This is a good little good tangent. All right. So we got a couple of names
we
to talk
reviewed
about.
Cars, self-driving systems, and office chairs today.
And office chairs. I think both pertinent and good.
But not yet the Brazilian monetary policy.
Yeah, Brazilian monetary policy has evaded.
Well, you can't
us
do
to
an
this
affiliate link. Please check the affiliate links at the bottom of this podcast for chairs, HermanMiller, and also for
various
Tesla.
Cars.
And various
smash
cars.
the like button.
So let's talk about so that's the NameJet list. So I think we agree there's some interesting stuff there. Not a ton that's like but a couple other names we haven't talked about. What about a name like Napa County? What about something like NapaCounty.com? Is that interesting?
Is it a county?
It is a county, isn't it?
Is it a county or a valley?
Oh, that's true. That's fair. Yeah, Napa Valley is how it's known. So Napa County is probably pretty Yeah,
but if you're a real estate agent, a couple of grand, I think it's great because it's high net worth. It's high value properties out there, and
then the one name that I think is a sleeper that I like on this.
Man, they burn down every couple of years.
Is
that's true too.
Is Munch Better? Munch Better. I like Munch Better because I think it's like it's a play on much better, but it's much better. Eat healthy, that kind of thing. A little snack kind of situation. Much better. No?
It's definitely worth more than the $24 appraisal.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It might be the lowest appraisal we've ever gone with on a list. But I like
why
it.
$24?
Should be like a campaign website for Joe Munchin.
Oh, who's Joe Manchin? The guy from
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
The guy from West Virginia, Munch.
Yeah, West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah, no, I agree that for like a little
the Republican Democrat,
a diet app or something, much better. Much better is a good.
It's cool. I think it's a cute little name. So
it's not worthless.
It's not worthless. It's just worth less. All right. So a couple quick names, and then we got about 10 minutes. So some names submitted by some our boy Andy Bushman has got significantother.com. Significantother.com. So first of all, big shout out to Andy for sending that along. What do you guys think about? I mean, to me, I think that's a fantastic name. No.
Significant other.
All right, next name.
What do you guys value a name?
No,
like
I mean, look, it's not crap. It's not worthless. It's just worth less. Significant other. Here's the way that first line of defense, name comes at me, and I really mean this as first line of defense because I feel like I'm being assaulted with shit every day. And so, basically I ask myself, is there a commercial application to this? If so, who is the natural buyer? Not necessarily a specific company, but like what type of company? And what purpose does it suit for them so that I can establish what it might be worth to them? And I mean, I'm not sure I even get past the first question. It's like, what's the commercial application of significant other, right? It's like, that's not going to be a dating network. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be if it's for dating, it's like soulmate.com, right? But significant other, I don't know, couples therapy, or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you do with that name. I don't know what the commercial application is. And so this is what I call a false friend, right? Because on the surface, you're like, significant other, that's a thing. not that hard to spell. Everybody knows it. Significant other, false friend, no commercial application. And so, that's the kind of thing somebody's going to spend a couple $1,000s on NameJet, and then it's going to sit in their portfolio, and then until they decide to pass on the hot potato to somebody else.
And that's what Andy's trying to do right now.
Yeah, that's
I
what
think Andy's just saying, hey, I got a couple of names. I think, look, just like anybody who's sending them in for this, they're saying, hey, I got a couple of names. Just, be interesting if you guys, talk about them and, let me know what you think. All right. So he's got a couple other. What about activating.com? Activating.com.
Well, wait, let me give you my piece. So I agree with Drew. I think it's a very long name, and that's not great. But again, the commercial applications are pretty limited. Like it could be a blog for somebody that talks about the value of not getting married and just living in sin. I'm kidding, living in sin. Or so a blog or like a therapist, couples therapist for non-married people. It's I think retail value is a couple of grand, maybe.
Yeah, you're stretching.
Take forever.
Okay. So, all right. So you're not as into it. I get it. What about activating.com? Activating.com. Is there any kind of commercial use there?
I probably like it more than, Shane, I don't know if you want to go, but.
No, I like that one a lot better. The ING names get a little tough, but people are using them more. I used to hate them.
Yeah.
I just felt like it was a word that we didn't use. Like, how often do we use the word activating? But that being said, they're being used because they are available and they're not as expensive as activate or activation or words like that. So they're coming into play. So it's probably got more valuable now than it ever, or more value now than it ever has. As far as what, that's a $5,000 name.
I feel like that's a buzzword, right? Activation is kind of a buzzword. I don't even know what
activated.
it means.
That's
like voters, right? Activating voters.
Yeah, all the words around it are fantastic. This is kind of the fringe form
for what
of
it's worth, just so you know, and Andy's email to me, he did say, look, I know the ING kind of takes, makes this one a little awkward, right? So it's not like folks don't know. At the end of the day, it's just, but they're
coming to play.
A nice guy. But
I have sold some gerunds, and I've gotten some decent prices.
Gerund, look at that.
Look at the big brain on Braden. You know what I'm saying? Gerund.
GERUND.
Your high school English teacher is going to be so proud of you. You know what I'm saying?
I've got three things in my notebook: frankincense, zero knowledge proof, and gerunds. That's my book for today.
But I'm with you. I think, like you said, so you said you've sold a few. You sold a few like this, right?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find them. So they do have value. Look, activated is really the term that's used, like activated charcoal. Things are activated now, right?
Okay.
However they do it. I don't know. There's a prayer over it or something to make it activated. And so it's supposed to be better for you. It's probably hocus pocus. But so activating, I don't really know exactly, but it could be used for something, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of lean into that term, activating your relationship or activating their love life, or I don't know.
Yep. I
think you could create a narrative around it.
Okay. And then the last one on his list, reforms.com. Reforms.com. Is there any commercial application or something like that?
Yeah, so reforms.com, it's probably, slightly better than the other two. Legal reform is a big issue right now, hot topic. There's a lot of, wealthy donor money going to causes for, legal reforms. What do you call that? But that's not the right word. It's not legal reforms. It's justice reform. Is it just? I don't know. Anyways, my brain is off today.
I was I can't help you, man. I got nothing. But I'm with you. I think I like it from more of like informationally,
reform, right? So that's the thing. It's okay. So it's justice reform, right? It's like not justice reforms, but I think that that one could have a little love. I'd probably put that in the low 5 figures. Reforms.com 25, 35. I think somebody somewhere might pay that someday.
Is there anything related to construction with something like reforms, like reform? Like, is there reforming? I mean, I don't know if that's like, I know from a political standpoint, sure. I was just.
I mean, actually, that's not a bad look. Like, reforms could be a design agency, could be real estate forms. You know what I mean? Like, it could be an architectural firm, like RE Forms. It's a nice little name. I think that's the best name of the three. Mm-hmm. It's got, different purposes. None of them are like 100% bang on, but I think it could, look, if that was on NameJet, I'd probably pay $1,000 for it, a couple $1,000 for it, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I think that name is more like a 20 grand and under retail price. I think 25 or 35 is too high, as Drew said, but because it's really singular and using the plural is pretty tough. You're going to have a hard time because your product or service is not going to be reforms, it's going to be reform. So it's going to be pretty tough to get people to remember the plural.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I think all these, it's like, and it is and you see this with lists even off of NameJet and that kind of thing as well, where it's like, it's not the best version of the name, or, when you start getting into things like you talk about gerunds and singular versus plural and other things, past tense. Yep.
Yeah.
And, but I think that's all good feedback. So much appreciated, guys. And shout out to Andy for sending the list.
I looked up my gerunds. So if you're interested in my gerund sales,
you show me your gerunds, I'll show you mine.
Yeah, baby. In 2019, I sold Satisfying for 50 grand. And in 21 or 22, I sold gaining.com for 20.
All right.
Wow.
Satisfying, especially. I mean, that's a satisfying sale.
Look, if Braden had emailed us today and said gaining.com, I would have been like, loser. You know what I mean? Like, what would you do with gaining.com?
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
crap,
like
junk.
Yeah.
Garbage.
So,
I sold that in November of 21.
Okay.
20 grand.
Not bad. That's a solid sale. It's satisfying.
If
Definitely.
Braden can do it, you can do it too.
That's it, guys. And and just sign up today for his his newsletter and and for a little bit extra.
And wait, there's
part
more.
Of the platinum group. But wait,
and when I sold Satisfying, and I had a call with, I remember the conversation because he asked for a cheaper price, and I was like, it's 50, and he's like, I have like 35 right now, and I'm like, payment plan. He's like, can you give me a month to give you the balance? It's like, I can give you the month, and he's like, and he goes, I can't believe I'm getting this name.
That's awesome.
He was so excited.
Yeah.
And then I remember like a month went by, or maybe it was 2 weeks. It was a very short time, a couple weeks. And he's like, hey, my PayPal hasn't arrived. And like, I need a few more days. Is that okay? I was like, dude, it's fine. It was like 2 days later, he sent the rest of the money. But he was really excited about it.
Well, that's great. You love that when somebody's excited, and it's a win-win for the buyer and the seller, so all good. We'll take that.
Exactly. Like when you get a friend that asks your opinion and they just are you want to tell them you don't really like it, and then you look at them and see they're just over the top and they're so excited. You just go
beaming.
I think it's awesome.
Beaming,
you just
there
let
you
it
go.
go.
There's just beaming with the ing.
Yes, I can't relate to that. I've never experienced that.
Yeah, Drew, you should try that. You should just let your opinions go and just go.
Oh
awesome.
Yeah, that'll happen. That will happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the under.
Let's go. Let's keep waiting. There you go.
Enjoy your shitty house, Grandma.
Oh, shout out to grandma. It's all good. All right. Well, look, guys, I think that's what's up. We're out of time. If you got 30 seconds, a minute, if anybody got to say, anything they want to talk about that we haven't talked about.
Yeah, I think the Brazilian monetary policy is.
All right. With that, all right, look, guys, as always, I appreciate y'all, my co-hosts, for being with me today on the show, and to the audience. Thank you so much. As I say on every show, without you, there's no us. Appreciate you sending in. Keep sending us some names. We got a few names for the next show. Our boy James, Domain Guy UK. We got you. That'll be on the next one. And, just keep sending them through. With definitely, this is what we do. It's what we talk about. And love to be able to provide some insight as long as y'all got thick enough skin to hear the hard truth. You know that we'll definitely share it and keep it real with y'all. But thanks for taking the time, spending it with us. Holler at us. We're not hard to find. Otherwise, we will see y'all next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Peace out, everybody.
See ya.
Ciao.